above the door, on the right, bore the inscription: Destange, architect, 1875. The same inscription appeared on number 23. So far, this was quite natural. But what would he find down there, in the Avenue Henri Martin? He hailed a passing cab. "Drive to 134 Avenue Henri Martin. Go as fast as you can." Standing up in the cab, he urged on the horse, promising the driver tip after tip. "Faster! Faster still!" He was in an agony as he turned the corner of the Rue de la Pompe. Had he caught a glimpse of the truth? On one of the stones of the house he read the words: Destange, architect, 1874. And he found the same inscription: Destange, architect, 1874, on each of the adjoining blocks of flats. The reaction after this excitement was so great that he sank back into the cab for a few minutes, all trembling with delight. At last a tiny glimmer flickered in the darkness. Amid the thousand intersecting paths in the great, gloomy forest, he had found the first sign of a trail followed by the enemy. He entered the telephone office and asked to be put on to the Chateau de Crozon. The countess herself answered. "Hullo! Is that you, madame?" "Is that Mr. Shears? How are things going?" "Very well. But tell me, quickly, hullo, are you there?" "Yes." "When was the Chateau de Crozon built?" "It was burnt down 30 years ago and rebuilt." "By whom? In what year?" "There's an inscription over the front door: Lucien Destange, architect, 1877. "Thank you, madam. Good-bye." "Good-bye." He went away muttering, "Destange, Lucien Destange. I seem to know the name." He found a public library, consulted the modern biographical dictionary, and copied out the reference to Lucien Destange, born 1840, Grand Prix de Rome, officer of the Legion of Honor, author of several valuable works on architecture, etc. He next went to the chemist's, and from there to the hospital to which Wilson had been moved. Old chap was lying on his bed of pain, with his arm in splints, shivering with fever and slightly delirious. "Victory! Victory!" cried Shears. "I have one end of the clue." "What clue?" "The clue that will lead me to success. I am now treading firm soil, where I shall find marks and indications." "Cigarette ashes?" asked Wilson, whom the interest of the situation was reviving. "And plenty of other things. Just think, Wilson, I have discovered the mysterious link that connects the 3 adventures of the blonde lady. Why were the 3 houses in which the 3 adventures took place selected by Arsène Lupin?" "Yes, why?" "Because those 3 houses, Wilson, were built by the same architect. It was easy to guess that, you say? Certainly it was. And that's why nobody thought of it." "Nobody except yourself." "Just so. And I now understand how the same architect, by contriving similar plans, enabled 3 actions to be performed, which appeared to be miraculous, though they were really quite easy and simple. What luck! It was high time, old chap, for I was beginning to lose patience. This is the 4th day." "Out of 10." "Oh, but from now onward—" He could no longer keep his seat, exulting in his gladness beyond his wont. "Oh, when I think that, just now, in the street, those ruffians might have broken my arm as well as yours! What do you say to that, Wilson?" Wilson simply shuddered at the horrid thought. And Shears continued: "Let this be a lesson to us. You see, Wilson, our great mistake has been to fight Lupin in the open and to expose ourselves, in the most obliging way, to his attacks. The thing is not as bad as it might be because he only got at you." "And I came off with a broken arm," moaned Wilson. "Whereas it might have been both of us. But no more swaggering. Watched, in broad daylight, I'm beaten. Working freely, in the shade, I have the advantage, whatever the enemy's strength may be." "Ganimard might be able to help you." "Never. On the day when I can say, 'Arsène Lupin is there, that is his hiding place, this is how you must set to work to catch him,' I shall hunt up Ganimard at one of the 2 addresses he gave me, his flat in the Rue Pergolese or the Taverne Suisse on the Place du Châtelet. But till then I shall act alone." He went up to the bed, put his hand on Wilson's shoulder, the bad shoulder, of course, and said, in a very affectionate voice: "Take care of yourself, old chap. Your task henceforth will consist in keeping 2 or 3 of Lupin's men busy. They will waste their time waiting for me to come and inquire after you. It's a confidential task." "Thank you ever so much," replied Wilson, gratefully. "I shall do my best to perform it conscientiously. So you are not coming back?" "Why should I?" asked Shears, coldly. "No, you're quite right, you're quite right. I'm going on as well as can be expected. You might do one thing for me, Holmlock: give me a drink." "A drink?" "Yes, I'm parched with thirst and this fever of mine." "Why, of course. Wait a minute." He fumbled about among some bottles, came upon a packet of tobacco, filled and lit his pipe, and suddenly, as though he had not even heard his friend's request, walked away, while the old chap cast longing glances at the water bottle beyond his reach. "Is Monsieur Destange at home?" The butler eyed the person to whom he had opened the door of the house, the magnificent house at the corner of the Place Malesherbes and the Rue Montchanin, and, at the sight of the little gray-haired, ill-shaven man, whose long and far from immaculate frock-coat matched the oddity of a figure to which nature had been anything but kind, replied, with due scorn: "Monsieur Destange may be at home or he may be out. It depends. Has Monsieur a card?" Monsieur had no card, but he carried a letter of introduction, and the butler had to take it to Monsieur Destange, whereupon Monsieur Destange ordered the newcomer to be shown in. He was ushered into a large circular room, which occupied one of the wings of the house, and which was lined with books all round the walls. "Are you Monsieur Stickmann?" asked the architect. "Yes, sir." "My secretary writes that he is ill, and sends you to continue the general catalogue of my books, which he began under my direction, and of the German books in particular. Have you any experience of this sort of work?" "Yes, sir, a long experience," replied Stickmann, in a strong Teutonic accent. In these conditions the matter was soon settled, and Monsieur Destange set to work with his new secretary without further delay. Holmlock Shears had carried the citadel. In order to escape Lupin's observation and to obtain an entrance into the house which Lucien Destange occupied with his daughter, Clotilde, the illustrious detective had been obliged to take a leap in the dark, to resort to untold stratagems, to win the favor and confidence of a host of people under endless different names. In short, to lead 48 hours of the most complex life. The particulars which he had gathered were these: Monsieur Destange, who was in failing health and anxious for rest, had retired from business, and was living among the architectural books which it had been his hobby to collect. He had no interest left in life beyond the handling and examining of those old dusty volumes. As for his daughter, Clotilde, she was looked upon as eccentric. She spent her days, like her father, in the house, but in another part of it, and never went out. This is all, thought Shears, as he wrote down the titles of the books in his catalogue to Monsieur Destange's dictation. This is all more or less indefinite, but it is a good step forward. I am bound to discover the solution of one, at least, of these exciting problems. Is Monsieur Destange an accomplice of Arsène Lupin's? Does he see him now? Are there any papers relating to the building of the 3 houses? Will these papers supply me with the address of other properties, similarly faked, which Lupin may have reserved for his own use and that of his gang? Monsieur Destange, an accomplice of Arsène Lupin's! This venerable man, an officer of the Legion of Honor, working hand in hand with a burglar! The presumption was hardly tenable. Besides, supposing that they were accomplices, how did Monsieur Destange come to provide for Arsène Lupin's various escapes 30 years before they occurred, at a time when Arsène was in his cradle? No matter, the Englishman stuck to his guns. With his prodigious intuition, with that instinct which is all his own, he felt a mystery surrounding him. This was perceptible by small signs, which he could not have described with precision, but which impressed him from the moment when he first set foot in the house. On the morning of the second day, he had as yet discovered nothing of interest. He first saw Clotilde Destange at 2 o'clock, when she came to fetch a book from the library,